So look at this, my dashboard is all lit up. I've got the TPMS flashing. The cruise light is flashing. The traction control and the check engine light are on. Oh, and the seat belt light is flashing, but I don't have my seat belt on, I just took it off. It started out with just the TPMS sensor coming on, and I think that's just because of air pressure, so that's the first thing I'm going to do. But these other indicators, the cruise indicator there flashing in green, check engine and traction control warning, traction control being off. So I've got to start looking at things. Alright, I've driven about a mile and the TPMS indicator has gone off. I still have the flashing cruise and the check engine and the automatic traction control. So on to the next step of trying to see if I can read the codes. Hello YouTubers. So I have a new problem with this car. It has all of a sudden started acting up. My first instinct is that I need to try to read the codes. So I have this ELM Scan 5 code scanner. This plugs into the OBD-II connector. And in this case, I like to use this cable extender. It just makes it easier to work with. So I'm going to plug this in, and I'm going to use the program for this device in the laptop and read the codes. So this is what the process looks like. First, I have to plug it into the OBD-II connector. I might need to use a USB extender because this cable isn't very long. When I bought this thing, it came with the software and a license. It's a ELM Scan 5 and compact USB. Okay. So I'm going to plug this in. So let me see, I need to try launching this, and I have an icon here for OBDWiz, that's the program. Okay, so I disabled my Ethernet and wireless on this. I don't need to kill the battery with that stuff. As you can see right up here, in the upper left here it says connect. I've got to click on connect, and that establishes the communication connection between the car and the laptop. But before I can do that, I need to put power on the OBD controller, and so I need to turn on the ignition key. The ignition switch is on. And I'm ready to try connecting. Connect. Okay, I'm going to use the default selection, the one it came up with. Click continue. And I don't really have a good indication that I have a connection, but it says disconnect here, so it may be well connected. Let me go to Diagnostics, see if something comes up. Yes. So I have a code you can see here. It's a P0302 powertrain code that is stored It's in this ECU, the one I selected, and the description is cylinder 2 misfire detected. The engine runtime while this was active is 24 minutes. I drove 4.35 miles with that being active. Malfunction indicator lamp status is on. That is my check engine light, right? So let me see if I can clear that for one thing by clicking on that. Do I want to continue? Yes. There are no pending, stored, or permanent diagnostic trouble codes. And now the code should be off right here. I know what it was, and I already think I know what is causing it. Let's see. The other thing you can look at here is the monitors. I should have done that before resetting everything. So these are the things the system is monitoring and are available and complete. So the monitor checks haven't been completed. Until those are completed, this car wouldn't pass inspection. And the way to get them completed is just to drive. You have to drive it so the system can do the checks as the vehicle is in operation. On the bottom here it says, this vehicle is not ready for emissions testing. That's because these checks aren't complete that it needs. If you ever have a fail on a check engine light for your inspection, if you just reset the codes and drive around, you might be able to get them cleared and be able to pass your inspection. And this also has this kind of neat little dashboard thing which actually works while you're driving. It's kind of cool. So anyway, I'm going to go for a drive and see if I can get any of these monitors cleared. Hopefully it won't take too long or too much driving. And then after I do that, that's kind of just playing around. After I do that, I'll describe the problems I've been having with the car, or while I'm doing that. I might even have them while I'm driving. Okay, so let's just take it for a test drive, see how it does, and see if the monitor's clear. So I'll put the laptop in the passenger seat while I'm driving. I'm leaving it hooked up. I ran the test cable along the inside of the rocker and then across the front of the seat. That way it won't interfere with my feet while I'm driving. All the dashboard indicators are off now, so that's a good thing. Alright, so I'm in drive, I'm going for a short cruise, and you can see the dashboard being recorded there on my laptop screen. Spits and sputters as I try to accelerate, and that is the problem. I just had it happen right there. It wasn't so bad, but it happened. Try to accelerate a little bit more aggressively. drive around the block here. And the block I'm on happens to be 2.5 miles long. So I'm going to stop here. You can see my speedometer went down to 0 and my RPM is at idle. A couple of my monitors there have cleared on this side. Those two down there have cleared so far. So let's continue on. I'm going to try to accelerate hard. Maybe we can pick up that sputter I was talking about. Oh, yeah. Terrible hesitation and sputtering. That's why I was getting that misfire code. Now, this seems to remind me of something. This reminds me of a problem I've had in the past with this car. It's been more than a couple years since this happened. So a few years ago, I had this same problem. And I went through all sorts of troubleshooting and parts replacing to try to get out of it. There, when I look at this thing, it won't accelerate right now. Oh boy, see it? See the engine? Oh, we've got my check engine light and throwing code, and that just cleared. So let's see what the code was from the Diagnostics. There it is. The same one? It's the same one. Engine misfire. So this is a consistent problem now. Before it was just kind of spitting and sputtering every now and then, but now it's a lot. It's enough that I need to really work on it. Back to the dashboard. Keep your eye on it. Accelerating. That wasn't bad that time. So I believe I know what the problem is, and that will be the first thing that I do this time. In the past, I went through troubleshooting. I actually replaced the coil, kind of out of desperation. It was around the time it was due for a new timing belt, so I did that because it needed to be done anyway, which of course made no difference for this operating problem. I replaced the spark plugs, the coil, and the ignition wires, thinking that that would help with misfires. It made no difference. And then finally, well, the last thing I did that cured the problem. Ooh, it's really misfiring. There it goes, takes off. And the check engine light is flashing, as well as the traction control, and it just went back off again. Sure, I just threw another code. Okay, I was suspecting a problem with bad grounds, but that didn't turn out to be the fix this time. So I'll create another video after this one to show what I did to fix any possible bad grounds. I've learned the hard way that when you're working on modern computer-equipped cars, it's always a good idea to look at your grounds before you do anything else. But before we see that, let's move on to troubleshooting the cylinder misfire code. My first step in trying to troubleshoot a single cylinder misfire is to take a look at the cylinder number 2 spark plug. This is cylinder number 2, I believe. Spark plug cable looks pretty good. There's a little bit of oil on there. A little. Yeah, I'll have to see once I pull that plug out if it's wet or not. So that's interesting. And so this is 2 and 4 over here. That almost didn't seem like it was plugged in right. That spark plug tube seems pretty dry. Well, let's pull these plugs out and see what they look like. If the plug looks good, I'll swap the 2 plugs on the same side of the engine. If I'm still misfiring on cylinder 2, I'll swap the ignition wires on that side of the engine. If that doesn't move the problem from cylinder 2 to cylinder 4, I'll have to investigate the coil. Hot. I don't know if you can see that. Will the camera focus on this? It's not oil fouled, but it doesn't look great. Okay, I'll pull out the next one and see what that looks like. This cheap little ratchet that I've had for many years, I mean it was super cheap. Looks like made in Taiwan garbage or made in China garbage. I've probably had this for more than 30 years, but it's been worth its weight in gold for getting into these tight places. Got it. And now we can see the difference. Look at that. Look how much better it is. This might be the cause of my misfires. I'm going to clean it up, put it back in, take it for a test drive. And I'll tell you that the tip of that center electrode there, it looks like it's burned off compared to this other plug. So I guess I'm going to check the gap on it and then I'll put them back in the opposite hole without cleaning this one, just to see if that makes the difference. So number 2 and number 4 plug are going to be swapped. Change of plan. I found I have 3 new split fire plugs that'll fit this. The specs in the manual say the gap should be 39 to 43 thousandths. I just gapped this 40 thousandths, so I have a brand new split fire plug to try in here. I believe I used those in our old 1999 Subaru Outback. The threads are the same, aren't they? Threads look like they're the same. Well, if the thread's right in, I'm going to use it. Just for testing purposes. If this solves the misfires, then I'll order a new set of plugs. These plugs have been in there for a few years. I'll have to look up the mileage I have on them. All right. Time to go for a test drive. After I put these wires back on. The OBD-II interface device is still connected, so after starting the engine, all I have to do is hit the connect button in the OBDWiz program and complete the connection process. Dashboard, and we're ready to drive. Close the windows. Just try to reduce the noise a little bit. I gotta tell you, it feels better immediately. It feels better. I think that was the problem. I had a bad spark plug. So I'm already believing that fixed the problem. I'll just take this little drive and let everything get heated up and see if it starts sputtering and throwing codes again. accelerating off from a stop sign, it just felt great. Not a bit of hesitation. No stumbling, hesitation, sputtering. It was good. I think that's the answer to this problem. It was that one spark plug. It was burned out. The center electrode was burned out. So I've been driving around for about a week now with split fire spark plug in the number 2 cylinder, and it's been running fine, smooth, no sputtering, no hesitation, and best of all, no check engine lights. So I purchased a new set of spark plugs, NGK Laser Platinum Premium. They're supposed to last 3 times as long as the OEM plugs. So I'm going to put these in, take it for a drive, and see how it is. I'm hoping for better fuel economy after this. Well, I replaced all 4 spark plugs with new ones and took the Outback for an extended test drive, with the laptop recording the dashboard the whole way. I'm not going to bore you with more video of that since there was nothing to see. The engine is fixed and it ran flawlessly. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.